see your screen.
You see my screen. Well, hey, everybody, this is Tammy DeLu. You know me from Safe Money Trends. And I want to thank Sherilyn for having me on today to talk to you about, now after, hearing from somebody that I heard from, right, I'm approaching this more gingerly, I guess, but a lot of you have reached out to me and asked me about artificial intelligence and its place, if any, in financial services, and also whether or not certain particular ones are worth looking into. So with that in mind, I want to do a review similar to the thong review. That's why when I sent some of you an email, I referred to same thong, different verse. This is a different verse from the same thong. So if you know about the thong email, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. But anyway, Sherilyn and I have been looking at AI, and a lot of people, I mean, there's so much news now. Sherilyn, when you Google AI, it's like 5,000 pages of stuff, people pontificating.
Well, it's so easy to generate the crap now because it's AI generated. So it's really, if you think about a reporter or anybody writing anything and wanting to fill their column space, AI is a perfect tool for them, right? Because they can just let it blather on and they can chop pieces out if they want, Sounds great.
They have actually gotten in trouble for some of that. So with some of
Yeah.
these different media outlets, journalists have gotten in trouble for trying to pass that off as their writing. But there are ways to tell, and Google certainly knows when you're doing it, because Google, of course, doesn't want you to do AI unless it's their AI, right?
Yeah, and Apple, I think, was cracking down on AI generated emails. Of course, people are doing that. So, yeah, it just increases the quantity, and as we'll probably discuss ad nauseum, there's a question as to the quality of AI generated content, especially as it relates to, real facts. Right now, AI doesn't know. AI doesn't have a necessarily a quality control thing. Yeah, right? It knows what you tell it, and it knows what it slurped up from its data source, whatever that is. If it's the internet, God, are we all in trouble? Because
maybe it's Wikipedia.
Oh God.
Wikipedia and Snopes or something like that. Really good sources of information.
Yeah, that would really give us some. I mean, if you think about all the stuff that's out on the internet, you can find a lot of diverging opinions, shall we say, and then there are a lot of opinions masquerading as fact. So
exactly, and there's a lot of fear around this because a lot of journalists and I wouldn't mind having AI to replace a few of the politicians we have, but as far as writing and creating human content, I think this is where it falls short. And we want to, if you look at my screen, I just noticed, this little cartoon up here. Do you notice what it is? It's like a factory of content.
Yeah, it is.
They're just going ching, 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 ching. So let's talk about what this means if you're a financial services person. We're not saying here on this. Okay, first of all, I want a disclaimer. We're not saying not to do it or to do it. We're saying simply if you're going to invest money and time, which you will never get back, in something like this, you need to know enough about it to make yourself dangerous. You need to be able to ask the right questions. You need to be able to intelligently evaluate this and not just rely on what an FMO or an IMO tells you, because who knows? They could be getting some financial interest in selling this to you. Could they?
Yeah, they really could.
So you need to be, so again, we're going to be as kind as we can. We're not picking on Amy Social. That's what you see up on there. Amy Social was just sent to me by a couple of advisors, and I said, okay, I'll look into it. So I believe Sherilyn also did. So what did you find in particular about Amy Social when you looked at it?
Well, let's just first talk about the business model. And the part of their pitch that really stood out to me was, our content produced by AI can increase your post from 1 post to 3 posts a day and takes you, 3 minutes or whatever. So for me, I question the utility of social networking as it pertains to marketing insurance products. I think if you want to connect with your friends, connect with your clients, be human online, places like Facebook and Twitter can be helpful. I question how many people are motivated in the right way to, work with anyone when it comes to Facebook. Now, Facebook marketing, which is adjacent to the posts and has nothing to do with Amy Social, because they're not managing your ads as far as I could tell. I mean, they produce them, and that would really scare me because when it comes to budgeting for things, I have seen most algorithms, which is kind of what AI is. It's a bigger, more complicated, what we would call an algorithm. It's just programming, and it might like learn from its own programming so it can modify and reprogram itself to an extent. When it comes to these things, you might get to stay within a budget, but I don't know if you really can. I mean, I really have to question all of this. I certainly would not just turn it right on and test it out and go whole hog with it.
Well, exactly. And write your the content on your website with it, because I believe, looking at this is my opinion, that they used their own AI to write this website. And the reason I believe that is because I got to figure out where I saw this, but there was a very stilted, very weird sentence structure in one of the sections here. And if I find it later, I'll bring it back up. But see if it's in the how it works. Nope. It's might be under marketers. I think so. All right, read this. And there's a lot wrong with it. Okay, first of all, the punctuation is kind of screwed up. And then read that first sentence.
And this is a quote from Gartner then. So
yes. So somebody,
maybe Gartner wrote it with AI. Since 2020,
yes,
content will become marketing's biggest bottleneck. So yeah, that is a problem.
A little bit of subject verb agreement issue there. Okay.
Yeah, or past present conflict, since we're in 2023 and will become, since 2020, content has become marketing's biggest bottleneck.
Yes.
You could state that authoritatively if you actually had a survey, but we don't even know that right now.
I'm just thinking in terms of the basics, that you want good grammar and good subject verb agreement on your website, but that would give me pause. Okay. That would make me think that maybe they used some third party somewhere. Now, the second thing is, this is one sentence. This entire paragraph is one freaking sentence. Look at that. I mean, I've had people tell me I had run on sentences that were like to where the marketing system. This is, with even putting dashes does not change the fact that it is one huge sentence.
Yeah, you should definitely split that up. And also, where are you getting these predictions? 25% increase in response rates because of greater targeting precision.
It's crazy. And then
you make a picture and you draw a chart, you throw out some numbers, and everybody believes it, which is, that's what the lies, damn lies.
If you work with Cheryl and I, you're 50% more likely to become super wealthy.
And cynical.
The last paragraph 2, again, these things like nitpicking, but you and I know, and we won't name the name of the advisor, but we know there's at least one advisor considering this that is a stickler for everything grammatical and everything. He was the kid in English class that corrected the teacher, right? So look at this. There's just this lonely quotation mark at the end.
Well, and it should be at the end of either that run-on sentence paragraph or the paragraph above, which is where it started with the since 2020. It's
And does
just,
everybody know who Gartner is? I mean,
and I will bet that they put quotation marks around something they summarized, which is a big no-no too. Because
so
you're apparently quoting something and putting words in that, because it does not sound, I don't know if Gartner wrote that, or if, and I see not where I see no reference. I see no place where I can look it up.
nope. And this right here too, more time, less expenses. How about fewer expenses?
Yeah.
I mean, less is for singular, less time, fewer expenses. Do I have to teach you guys this basic stuff? And so this is like, as a marketer, okay, I clicked on this section because I'm going, okay, what can they do for me? Well, they can make me very nervous is what they can do, because
Yeah.
if their content is as bad as what's here on this one page, then I'm worried about the kind of stuff I'm sending out. This is what we're going to say today, is that if you are a financial advisor or an agent, you got to be careful, because not only do you have compliance things that you have to be concerned about, and Sherilyn will address that in a second, but you also look right here. They tell you exactly what they're going to do. I didn't even notice this before, Sherilyn, but what you were saying about repeating content, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A press release was sent out to a bunch of agents a few days ago that said, we're not using AI to create content. Baloney. Look at this. Read what it says. Amy Social writes 2 versions of every post, 2 versions. One that's over 280 characters that you can use on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, why is it a she?
Yeah, because Amy is a she. They
Wait a
call
minute,
her a she every time.
She could be
Yeah.
non-binary. Okay, that's not fair. Okay,
We haven't asked Amy.
we haven't
Have
asked
we?
Amy her pronouns. What
Maybe
are her
she
pronouns?
identifies as a she. Maybe she already told them. And was she programmed to do that?
I think they,
We
them,
digress.
But we digress. Yes. But look at this. She writes another one under 280 characters, perfect for Twitter. Okay. So right away, they're telling you, you're going to get the same post twice, right?
Yeah.
And
somebody
in
that
multiple
is
platforms.
Yeah. If somebody is on your Twitter and your Facebook feed, they're going to see you repeat yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times that day.
Yeah. And the people you have on Facebook, dude, they're not the same as the LinkedIn people. LinkedIn people want to see business related posts. They don't want to see cats flushing toilets. They don't want to see live for today and be in the moment. Okay. They're looking for Facebook about to lay off 500 people. That's what they're looking for on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
Are they going to be doing news? I don't know what they're doing there, but that's interesting. So that tells you that if your IMO FMO says, well, we're not really creating content with it, we're just organizing the content you already have. What's wrong with that picture, Sherilyn? If they're just saying, hey, we're just organizing the content, making it more efficient.
Well, it's not saying how it organizes content. It's saying you can control your hashtags, call to actions, all of the posting options. Now, I can understand if I were to, fill out my contact information and all of the places that I would want to send people in terms of a campaign, and then say, go to this this article that I wrote and write me a tweet and a Facebook post summarizing this article and linking to it. I don't think that's what's happening here. I really don't, because that would take too long. It'd be too specific to each client. And, I think a client could do that for themselves. It would take them time. It would not take them 3 seconds. It would never take you 3 seconds to do a good AI generated post. You'd also have to monitor it and make sure that your AI robot was, doing the job that you wanted it to, which these set it and forget it mentalities, you got to have some quality control here. We're talking about a robot.
Well, yeah, and they what was it? There's been several videos made where it shows how inaccurate the data that can be spewed out by these things is. So,
Yeah.
So if you're, I think what they want to do is put these little pithy sayings,
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin says,
Yeah. A retired lady swinging on a swing set. Beautiful. Really? I mean, is that fine?
Yeah.
But who's in your audience? Again, I harp on social media anyway, so I'll just go there. What are you expecting to gain from this social media campaign? What's it worth to you? What do you think you're going to redeem from it anyway? What's the possibility? From my experience, paid ads are the only way you get any kind of new lead off of social media platform. And that is because, well, with the exception of taking the time to network on LinkedIn, which is a job. It's a job and it's time. And God help you if you unleash an AI chatbot on behalf of yourself to network on LinkedIn. That would be a disaster.
Oh my gosh, it would be.
I would like to see the Bing chatbot try to network on LinkedIn. That would be a comedy, and I would watch it.
They fixed it though. They fixed it.
I thought they turned it off. Isn't that how they fixed it?
I think they turned it back on and got all those little hiccups out of it. But to your point, yes, if you're out there, you're a financial advisor agent. The reason you're doing any marketing initiative, if you have a goal in mind, right? So if the only thing you're using this for is just to keep in touch and you have a large network already, maybe. But what about those people, Sherilyn, who have 50 people on their LinkedIn account or 100 people on their Facebook? They're not going to get much traction out of this, are they?
Well, and when you're preaching to the choir, and if your choir is really small, yeah, what are you going to get out of it? And I will tell you, the swing set lady is that going to compel you to look harder into annuity, or would a fairly basic summary of one of the features of an annuity, like the guaranteed lifetime income rider, be more appropriate in terms of, just interest generation from your audience? If you're already talking to your audience, I mean, this is what we've seen with our Retirvo system. And I think this is what about your Safe Money Trends articles. You're not throwing fluff out there. You're not.
I'm trying not to.
you might have humor. You might include some really catchy thoughts, that will, make people reimagine what they might have thought about retirement and annuities. But you're not going to just have an inspirational quote with an image behind it, throw up a meme and expect somebody to say, yeah, that makes me want to, plow my 401k into an annuity. You kind of have to give them a reason to think about it with you.
Right. And I was talking before, we had talked about one of my advisors who went through an agency. And I'm not saying it was automated, it wasn't AI, but they went through an agency and they got partnered with that big CN or Fox News contributor, very well-known contributor with 1 million plus followers, an influencer, got teamed up. And I thought that was going to be the bomb, right? I mean, they put posts every day. She got hundreds of comments, hundreds of likes, all that stuff, but it did not translate into any significant movement on the meter. And that's really what all this is about. If you don't see anything coming out of it, there isn't.
Yeah. I would say marketing. What would you say there are two ways that I think that marketing is effective: is gaining new business, or new leads, and then staying in touch with your old leads that aren't ready to make a decision yet. These two facets, you gotta fill the hopper, and then you gotta cultivate the hopper. I know that's not a good. You got to tend to those people, though. You got to get them.
Nurture.
You got to nurture your leads, and if you are nurturing your leads by saying, like a barker at a carnival saying, these are the fees, or these are the rates I got. This is the term I got. This is the product I got. People are going to unsubscribe like crazy from that stuff. I've seen it happen. If you are helping people understand maybe what's going on in the world today financially with, the economic landscape, how it might affect retirement planning, what kind of tools are available at your disposal to, maintain or increase your nest egg. Those are helpful little tips. And you don't have to tell everybody exactly what they need to hear that day. We can't read minds, and Amy Social can't read minds. And Amy Social is a megaphone broadcasting in an automated way to your cherished followers on your social platforms that you cultivated already. So, be careful what you let loose there. And again, I still have never seen a lot of traction on a social media network in terms of, converting leads to an annuity. I've never seen that. I've seen new leads being generated if you pay. Usually it's better if you pay somebody that's doing seminar promotion and they
Right.
sign people up through that network. That's the only thing I've ever seen that has worked.
And I don't think, Sherilyn, most of these FMO, IMOs, or other organizations, agencies, what have you, I don't think that their intent is to say that it's a lead generation. If they're smart, that's not how they're selling it. It seems to me they're selling it as either to boost your SEO or as a way for you to stay in touch and seem like you're really cool because you're sending all this stuff out. But the thing is, I would question, okay, so I have an advisor, let's say, and I hardly ever hear from the advisor. Every once in a while, maybe at tax time, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I start in my feeds, I start getting all this pithy stuff like Ben Franklin says, or Eisenhower quotes, or whatever they come up with. I would be kind of suspicious. And the first thing I would think is, oh gosh, they hired somebody to contact me. It's not really them.
Yeah.
It doesn't prove that they know me.
Yeah. And marketing sounds like marketing,
Sorry, it does. It does.
Information sounds like it could be coming from the horse's mouth, though. If it's something that's just a informative type of outreach, something that's helping people make a decision, that does not turn a lot of people off. I mean, it could turn some people off, but it is less offensive. People are more welcoming to what they would consider to be useful information. And frequency is actually not your friend. I'm just going to put it out there.
And I'll tell you, she knows because
one a day. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't do one a day. Don't do 3 a day. Amy is going to hurt you that way. If you're going to do 3 posts a day, try 3 a week, make them count, and see what you get from that. But don't do 3 a day.
I don't know about you, but I don't know about everybody that's out there listening, but in my social network, I have duplication of the same people. I have a lot of my advisors follow me on Facebook in a personal way, the ones I know better. And then I have them on LinkedIn. And what's going to happen with this is they're going to get a version of the same post in every single one of their feeds. So not only are you sending out too many at once, you're sending them out to, the same person is seeing it 10 times.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be
good. And the
good.
audience on LinkedIn is decidedly different from the audience on Facebook, primarily because one is more social and one is more professional. And, if you want to target small business owners, you go to LinkedIn. If you want to target people that are, retired and their ages, or they didn't lie to Facebook about their age or whatever, and you want to meticulously market to that group, you can do that, but not through your group. Not through your group. Your group is your group. And posting on your board, I think that should be more authentically you.
Yeah, it should be manual. It should at least be your assistant who knows you really well and can write in your voice. And, you know, if you want to do social media, if you still insist that it's going to have some value for you, I would, you know, just hire somebody, give them a list of topics that you like to do, maybe even give them some charts or whatever you want to throw out there and say, you know, write this in my voice, make it authentic, make it, you know, that can work. But having a computer doesn't know you.
Yeah.
It doesn't know your audience that well. It just, again, does what it's told.
Yeah.
And the thing
if you're writing a book and you've got a book out there, if you've got a seminar that you want people to sign up for, if you published an article on Save Money Trends or somewhere else, those are noteworthy topics for a social media presence for sure. But what else are they going to be put, you know, and you made that point about SEO.
Mhm.
Where is your traffic going? Who's driving the traffic where?
Right.
If your traffic is going to your site, fine. That's good. If your traffic is going anywhere else, this is your inner circle of your social followers. These are people that you
Your
built.
clients.
Yeah. You better make sure those clients aren't going somewhere where they can fill out a form and get sold as a lead to somebody else.
Exactly. And that has happened. That has happened. We've seen it. Cheryl and I've seen so many times when a guy gets excited about being published on a certain platform. And this is why when you publish on Safe Money Trends, and, you know, it's just that we insist that you own your content so that you can put it on your website. Matter of fact, we want people to put content on their website first if they have one. And if they don't, or they just say, I don't really want to do that, that's fine. But we want them to put content on their site, and then we can send traffic back to them, you know, to their site. And you want to do that with all of your content. You know,
yeah, one of the SEO perks of doing a syndication through Safe Money Trends is it sets up your website as the originator of the content. And so say that Google is going to bring up that article, it's going to bring your site up first with that article.
Exactly.
So
and that's what you want.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of people that don't have a site they can modify. Our template sites are not the kind of site that you can put an article on. There's a lot of people that get those little canned sites that have, like, you know, about us and a contact form and, you know, some video that somebody created for them. And that's all fine. You know, then you've got the other alternative of being
And if it's free, keep it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, websites are expensive to build and maintain. They are, you know, and if you're on a budget and you want to restrict your budget, having an aggregator site like Safe Money Trends is going to be SEO positive for you no matter what, because you've got a lot of content on there. You get a lot of natural traffic from search. We're seeing some of the invited authors come up pretty high in the search engines.
Yeah, this author's we get, like, I don't know, thousands and thousands on this page alone. It's our #1 page, right? This one.
Yep.
Yeah. So and I can tell you, yeah, people that are showing up in there when you Google. Jerry Yu is a good example. Jerry Yu has a common name. I guess it's common. He's Taiwanese American, and so when, you know, they change their names when they come over because nobody can pronounce a lot of the names, and there's a lot of people who changed it to Jerry. And so when we would go do Jerry Yu search, we never saw his cute little face on there, and we would see Jerry Yu the veterinarian, Jerry Yu the doctor, Jerry. So now, since he's been writing with us, you can see his videos popping up and his name. Same for Jim Fish. I think Ken Reeves has 2 or 3 of our digital properties. But that wasn't, I mean, I'm not saying this is for everybody because we're really kind of picky about who we work with. If you're the kind of person that wants the low-hanging fruit and the quick fixes, that's not what we do at all. So the automation, yes, we use it, but we use it judiciously. as far as the social media is just the promises that people make to you. We wanted you to be aware of what it will do for you and what it won't do for you. So what could Amy do for you in a positive light, Sherilyn?
Well,
If you weren't paying a
if I
fortune
were
for
to
it.
use Amy, yeah, the price would have to be right. But if I were to use Amy, I would want to schedule my posts on different platforms and coordinate. I would want to review the performance and, be able to compare the different types of posts that I made, evaluate all that stuff. And I would definitely make use of the Amy generated graphic design. I would totally do
Yes,
that in a
yes.
heartbeat, because the visual tools are really complicated these days. And if I have to say something very positive about Amy, which I feel compelled to do because she seems like a nice lady, graphics look
They,
amazing.
them, they, them,
Yeah.
non-binary.
I'm going to do what she says, and I'm going to go for she.
Okay.
But
Okay.
those are nice graphics, aren't they?
Yeah, they were nice graphics. And again, our thing isn't to put this down, but what we're saying is how it's being sold to you. Now, those of you who are in the annuity space understand this, that you're always frustrated because other agents have sold annuities improperly, right? And it makes it harder to do your job. So all we're saying as marketers is not that we don't like this, it's that how it's being sold could be bad for you, because you could be misled into thinking this is going to be tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of leads,
Yeah.
or that kind of thing. So again,
I
I've
was
always,
trying to look at the plan pricing while you were talking,
yeah,
and
they're not telling you, are they?
yeah, it's
If you have to ask, you can't
yeah,
afford it.
I like the way you state that, because this is exactly the other thing that turned me off.
Okay.
I got to be honest with you. If you're not
Custom
willing to put
quote.
your price up,
It's
yeah, but
custom.
the the basic ones,
Mhm.
technology, one
Yeah.
base technology license, I should be able to know what that costs. The
Yes.
basic.
Yes.
Now, agency tools, yeah, I should contact sales for that. Maybe even creator tools. Maybe I should contact sales for that. But the
This one should
baseline,
be.
what is my user login? What is the value of this product? How do I even know what my FMO, I don't, they're going to get a better deal than I am, because they're going to buy in bulk or be a
Mhm.
wholesaler. But as far as this base license is concerned, I need to be able to value this, and I can't now. I can't
Exactly.
even
And even
tell
if you're
what it's
getting
worth.
it for free, of course it's never free, right? It's got a big long string tied to your production or whatever. But even if you're getting it free, you want to know what it's worth,
Yeah.
because it may not be worth what they're asking you to do in terms of production to get it for free. That's one thing. And again, I don't think it's going to be free except for a few chosen ones. And you guys know how that works. It's like the
Yeah,
creme
if
de
you
la.
buy into a bigger marketing plan that they want to promote further, and you're blowing thousands of dollars a month, and this is just a couple hundred, then they might throw this in for you. But yeah, it's very likely a bundled solution. And they're going to add all the costs of all of the technology together. This might just be a piece of it, and you're going to pay a monthly fee. I would like to know what that base rate is. I would like an itemized cafeteria plan where I could pick and choose which of these
Exactly.
subsidized programs I wanted to say yes to or no to. If you're going to have to throw down like a gigantic, it's kind of like cable, basic cable and regular cable fell apart under the weight of sports licensing contracts, because basic and premium cable, when you paid premium cable, what you're really paying for is the sports contracts. And if you didn't use those, you wanted a cafeteria plan where you could get like whatever movie channel you really liked on top of the basic cable. But it ends up being, when you look at the cost analysis, that even basic cable was covering a lot of the costs of these massive sports contracts. It was just so much money.
Absolutely. So this is sort of like subsidizing another agent, isn't it? This is sort of like those people that,
or another program, so say you want one program, but you don't use this program, and or it doesn't provide as much value to you. If everything's bundled and you can't pick, you're going to be paying, twice as much for the thing that you really use compared to.
It's the thong approach, right? The bundled thongs.
Bundles bundles of thongs are even less attractive than just a single thong, in my opinion.
Just a single thong, yeah. Oh my gosh, we could go places with that. But so the reason we did this was so that at least you need to ask questions. So if you were being presented with this, should we since it's already show you one of the FMOs press release on this?
Just one.
Yeah, just one. Okay, so I picked this one. So they're talking about adding this. Now, if you got this in the mail yourself, Sherilyn, what questions do you think are useful to ask before you commit to this?
Well, I would really want to be able to compare whatever this agency tool is with what I could get just straight from Amy itself. And then I would want to be saving some money or getting something more than what I was offered through the basic tool. So I would want to be able to compare the services. And the reason that I would want to be able to compare the services is, what if I decide I don't want to continue to contract with this FMO? What are they going to do to my service? Are they going to yank it? Are they going to, kick me off their special platform? If that's the case, I'm going to lose everything I ever generated, and I'm going to have to start over. And
exactly.
I have seen that happen to people. I don't tie myself to an FMO now because I had to do that to people, and it broke my heart, man, because these people were just, and the real insidious thing about this, and I don't know how these guys are doing what they're doing, but in my case, they weren't paying me anything. I was directly billing the agents exactly what I was making. They weren't subsidizing anything on my behalf. And so for them to tell me to cut somebody off because they weren't making enough money, it was just weird. It was a very convoluted situation. And I didn't really feel like I should have to shut down legitimate clients for a product that I was totally owning and managing myself.
So
and
you're right. And that's
so
the first
Amy
question to ask.
Social would
Yeah.
be the same kind of, I mean, they're obviously their own legitimate business. If they provide this FMO or any other with their own agency tool, well, at that point, that agency owns that, that service, and they can kick whoever off that they want. And so that's why you have to think about it. So if it's 50% of the cost of what you would get if you were doing it yourself, maybe there's a benefit to that. If they throw in a few more things, if you love them to death and they're perfect for you and you never have any problems with these people and all their products are great and you see a long-term relationship, that sounds okay, But if you have multiple FMOs that you work with and they're trying to compete and use their carrots and their sticks, they might use this as a stick just as much as a carrot and say, well, if you're not putting enough production through, we're going to yank this. Or if you haven't written any business with us for the last 6 months, we're going to take away your marketing. And these kinds of systems don't always work right away. They work better in the long term. You have to build up. And so that's a really big deal if you like the tool and you are going to set yourself up for it to be yanked away from you. So I definitely want to compare pricing. I want to know all of those things about,
do I own my content? That's the question.
Yeah.
will I own my content no matter what? Can I
Yeah.
reuse these posts again if I leave this?
Yeah. And I would say, first of all, it would be very hard to port that account from Amy to your own individual account. I bet they could, but
They won't.
yeah, what is the policy there? Because if they want to make it hard and, you know, their so-called resellers or agencies want to, you know, put a little fence around what they're doing and be the proprietary people there, they might say, sure, this is what my big client is doing, and I'll cater to my big client. If you want to work with us in the future, you just have to set up a new system and, you know, start from scratch. And that's very often what happens. I really don't know of a platform, you know, when I worked in real estate, brokers didn't transfer tools to other brokers. No, they do not, you know, so that's why a lot of realtors had their own websites, did their own outreach, and spent a lot of money on their own marketing. And they were the realtors that could go to any FMO, any broker they wanted and get, you know, preferential rates. So
Absolutely. See, that's who I tell people to model themselves after real estate people, because they know how to get it done. They know what marketing tools
they
to
were the
use.
first industry that gave the internet a giant hug. They were, you know, the first domain names, the first real websites. They really went
Was
all in.
realestate.com the first website?
I don't know.
Or
I
probably
don't know.
porno.com would be more like it. That's what that would be what I would think, because
Yeah,
that was
real
the
estate
first
is probably a drop in the bucket compared to that other industry. The
another
adult
industry.
industry has a lot going on as far
And
as the
so
internet
let's look
goes.
at this just a little bit longer, just to see how we can parse this a little bit, because first they say they're not using it to create content, and then they're saying we can use AI as a content delivery system to maximize the power of our agents' content. So what they're saying, this is what maybe you've got a different take on it, Sherilyn. What I'm interpreting to mean is that you can publish content on our platform, okay, on our website, and then we'll use the AI to make sure everybody reads it. But isn't that just driving traffic back to that?
I would never connect my social network to a tool that had all of my social network traffic funneling right here to this. I think any part of the site has that same
Yeah,
free immediate download for these books, and they ask for your name and your email address. What do you think they're doing with that?
and it's
You
some
know,
other agent's picture half the time.
yeah, it's it could be any article, right? If it's, are you only promoting your own articles to your network? A better way to do that would be to post the article. You know, post the article to your social network and keep your own contact information there. You can say
Exactly.
where it was, you can say that you published it, but you know, this site, like a lot of sites, is trying to do both things. It wants to be an agent marketing or agent promotional site, and it also wants to be a lead gen site. And if you
Absolutely.
promote your agents and you're a lead generator, you should not ever ask your agents to send traffic to your lead gen site. You want
Right.
traffic outside of the agent's existing pool of contacts. Otherwise, either they're getting their own contacts back from you. That would be the best case scenario. And worst case scenario is that that contact is going to somebody else, because how are they tracking that? That's the next question. And so this is just more and more questions.
Exactly. I can't understand how we know for a fact that it has happened where people have used drip systems and things and whatever, and then somebody has reached out to try to sell their contacts. You know, I mean, if you're like, some of these advisors have really close ties with their clients, right? So anytime the client gets something weird or funky, or somebody calls them, well, and there was one advisor who was smart enough to put a fake email in his in his list before he uploaded it, and then sure enough, that fake email got solicited, not by but by another advisor. So you do have to be careful anytime you allow these people to see who you know. How's this going to play out, Sherilyn? Because if you look at LinkedIn, you'll see uh, it's very gives you suggestions of who to reach out to, right? So if they know who your social contacts are, I mean, this could be violating your client's privacy. I also worry about compliance issues with these things. How are you going to possibly keep tabs on what the AI is telling people?
Yeah, I don't think anybody who is securities licensed should touch any of this stuff. And I mean, I would suspect now, if I'm driving my own artificial intelligence generated marketing, I get to decide what my prompts are. And I would prompt my AI to create graphics and things that were very plain vanilla and compelling, but not talking about the intricacies of tax law or what have you. I also would not be demonizing competing products. I would be working on very, compliant types of topic matters. But I know enough about compliance to know that I don't really think I want to do social marketing if I have to run it all by a compliance department. That would be expensive. It would be time consuming and cost prohibitive, you know.
And they always say no anyway. I mean, my experience has been was no matter what you do, they're going to say no because it's just easier than having to actually deal with going through all of your campaigns. So what I'm
Or they
reading
might
on
put a
this,
giant disclaimer on it and make it just look like crap anyway, and then it wouldn't
yeah,
work. So those giant disclaimers are hilarious, but
I try to make them funny now when I put the
yeah.
disclaimer on our site. But here's the thing I'm wondering about this too is are people going to be able to shut the flow off and on just when they need it? Like I mean, I don't know. It looks to me like they're going to create for every FMO, IMO is going to have one unique campaign that they've created that all the advisors get plugged into. So that's kind of troubling right there. I mean, it can't be possibly, they cannot possibly customize this to every agent, can they?
There's a lot of people that don't want to think about their marketing, and I hear it. I mean, I get it, but it's you that you're marketing here. So that's another thing. I get lots of emails, from agents. I am still in a lot of lists of different email outreach for some of the clients that I used to have. And it is really obvious when it's coming directly from the agent versus coming from their FMO. All the links go back to the FMO. Their company, their company name is all over it. It's a product pushing tool in a lot of ways. Sometimes, so are they dictating the terms of this tool to you? And then if you want to do something special from time to time, you can, call somebody and they might accommodate you, or they might just tell you, no, we don't do that.
No
So,
customization at all.
and we don't know because this is new. So,
Yeah,
but those
I'd
are
like
all
to
thoughts.
see it. I'd like
Yeah.
to see it. I'd also ask, if you're going to consider this, ask for a demo. There's no reason why this company wouldn't be willing to give you a demo if they're legit, right? I mean, if they're really wanting your business, they should give you a demo and show you everything that this can and cannot do. And, I know it's been a little long. We wanted to go in more in depth in this because you're going to be seeing a lot of AI stuff in the future. You're going
I
to
would
see.
like to see 2 or 3 agent social media networks. And I would actually just like to, if I were evaluating this tool, I would watch 2 or 3 different agents who were using it in different, Facebook, LinkedIn. I would hate to see what gets tweeted or Instagrammed on this, so I'd probably just focus on those two.
Yeah,
But
not the right venue for most financial stuff, really.
yeah. Well, and if you are tweeting, you got to be making somebody mad. Usually that's the case with Twitter. So I just kind of don't even spend much time on it, although I know a lot of people rely
Yeah.
on it for news. But there could be some interesting, provocative things going on in financial news, I guess. But is that what Amy Social is going to be giving
I,
me?
I,
I'd look
I
at
don't,
everything I was going to use, and I'd compare what agents were doing, and the red flags would be if everything was very suspiciously similar, like,
yeah. And I think, I
bot
think you're going to
posting.
find that but the overall thing we wanted to get you to get from this presentation was that, is it even necessary? You know what I mean? Like, for example, I could invent a machine that makes midgets basketball sneakers, one every 3 seconds. But if you aren't a midget and you don't have midgets for clients, how useful is that? So I'm just thinking social media is probably not the best place for you to spend your time and resources if you're financial.
One thing I've never done with my social network is market to my friends and my family. My friends and my family are on my Facebook page. It's closed. I have commercial pages that I work with,
Yeah.
but even those on Facebook, I almost don't see the point. I know there are,
They're good for search, the Facebook pages. Okay. We do have to mention that.
They're good for search, but what Facebook giveth, Facebook also taketh away. And, I can't tell you how many businesses that I've had to try to help, and they are so much harder than Google to get a word from when you're a Facebook page. You can get taken down for any reason. They won't even tell you why.
Exactly. They don't have to tell you why. It's in the contract. I think that.
Yeah, I've had lots of people that had I had a friend who owned a restaurant here in town, and he asked me to help him get his Facebook page put back up. And we did get it put back up once, but if you've got a competitor that really knows how to get in somebody's face and take you down on Facebook, it's really easy to get sites taken down, and it's really hard to get them put back up. And every time it happens, it can it adds to the toughness of getting reinstated, and those comments are generally what get you, so you don't even really have control. If you get somebody that
is racist posts,
things,
that kind of stuff. It doesn't even have to be you. It can be one of your clients that's ranting or says something anti-vax or something, and then all of a sudden,
they could probably say something about a specific part of the government, or they could use any word. I mean, any word at this point has become, if you've looked at the Stanford list of words that you can't use anymore, I just shudder to think that, everybody in your contact list might not have gotten that memo. And if, the one thing these guys like to do with their algorithms is throw a bunch of constraints into the hopper and just flag everybody, and they do. And so I just think Facebook kind of went a little bit crazy on they went a lot crazy. Moderation of their, that's not moderation. It's just a purge. And it's become, to use their words, problematic.
Well, but you bring up a good point. If you are creating cookie cutter content, and if you cannot control the process, that's the main thing. Sherilyn's main point is, if you can't control your process from A to Z, lots of things can happen. And I'm not saying that, that we have advisors that like to micromanage. Oh my gosh, they're too far the other way. But at the same time, you do have to know what's going on. This is just too important for you to set it and forget it. So what would you do as an alternative? So somebody's looking at this and they go, Sherilyn, I really have to automate some of my processes because I'm overwhelmed. I'm a one man, one woman shop, and I can't keep up with everything that I need to do. What are the things that you would focus on with your time and money?
Well, I'd ask what your goals are. And there's lead acquisition and then there's lead nurturing. And so for lead nurturing, I would look, well, and then there's reputation management, which is part of lead nurturing as far as I'm concerned, because for SEO
Yeah.
purposes, the only reason to even invest in it is to make sure when somebody puts your name in, you come up somewhere. You are not going to get SEO for the products you're selling. That's
Uh-oh.
what,
Your audio pinged out.
oh, my internet connection is unstable.
That's okay. We're all a little unstable, but yeah.
Yeah.
So because the weather there is not the greatest, and so we do want to, I mean, I know we've been doing it for an hour. We are both very heavily involved in automation, and we're not Luddites completely. Although Sherilyn's starting to lean that way, I worry about her sometimes. But
I would say I'm a
we're not completely.
reluctant technology adopter. I am a late adopter of technology because there are early adopters, and I wait until everything has played out.
Exactly.
And before I go fully into what works. So I just like a good evaluation period. The other thing about new stuff is it's usually way more expensive than it ends up being down the
Yeah.
line.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but in terms of lead gen, there's just a few options nowadays.
Mhm.
You've got your seminar planning, you've got various lead providers. Natural internet leads are rare. You've been able to garner a few through different methods, so I'd probably point people in your direction.
Yep.
And then in terms of lead nurturing, that's what our Retirevo system with the CRM does. And that's also what your article site does in terms of reputation management.
Great.
I would be encouraging of those podcasts that you've been doing, because that's a whole other level of SEO that you can do. I think the events and seminars are still, some people are still doing well with them.
Very
That's
well.
what I hear from my clients. So I don't specifically know anybody doing them, that's on our level of, the producer type people. So I don't know who I would recommend in that field, but it seems like it's still very effective.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's who was it? I was talking to an advisor the other day, and um, in Texas, and they have used that movie, the retiree movie that a lot of people have
Mm-hmm.
used. They've been really successful with that. So gosh, there's so many things to consider in all of this, like geography, your ideal demographic. But the main thing is, when you do any marketing, sit down, figure out how much your leads are worth to you. What's your closing rate? How much is a lead worth? So you'll know how much to spend, because if your average client brings you $5,000 a year, of course you're going to spend $500 to get that person, right? It
Yeah.
would be worth it. But if you don't even know how much they're worth, it's kind of hard to make a marketing budget. And that's what we want to do.
Well, and you never want to spend on marketing money you don't have.
Exactly. You don't
You
want to
just
borrow.
never want to. Marketing is after the nuts and bolts of your business. It's your profit, is what you put into it. When you have your seat, if you're just starting out, you need to buy leads.
You do. And we know they're crummy a lot of times, but there are ways to do it.
And try, don't commit, don't do that. I've heard a lot of these
Subscription.
lead providers are saying, if you don't pay me a minimum of like $3,500 a month just for 10 leads, are you kidding me? And some of it works. And so don't say no to things if you can afford them, but don't overcommit to only one source before you know the
No.
opportunities that you're missing out on. And so I would really want to do a trial of various different types of leads, because you don't know what you're going to connect with. You don't know how you're going to operate with different people. I talked to an agent the other day, and he's just he does better with the ladies, you know? And he's like, I really like working with the ladies.
And they like working with him. And,
Yeah, they like working with him. And he says, the guys, they're a lot more skeptical. They push me a lot. They, I can work better with ladies, and I like working with them. And he knows. So,
that's the way to do it.
If you're doing marketing yourself, you can kind of tailor those types of things in certain.
Right. And the cheapest way by far, okay, to get sales. If you're listening to this and you're just saying, okay, this is all fine and good, that's nice that you explained it, but how do I get sales? I said that I could distill it into one simple formula, and that is, don't be a jerk. Call people back. Pick up the phone when they call you. Don't let people fall through the cracks, and do the best job for your client, whether or not it benefits you at that moment, because at some point it will. You'll get referrals. And this is what I'm telling you. If you want some sales right now, go into your database and look at all those people you've neglected over the years. Because this guy actually, Cheryl Lance, is old school. He said, I had 15 buying units. They're not buying units, they're people.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get that out of your head, these are not buying units. These are not people that, okay, 3 people bought at the seminar and the rest of the people that were there are just to the wayside. If you do that, you're wasting money and you're not very effective in your job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially in this market, in this industry, how many people do you know that just walk into a seminar with $100,000 in a suitcase, and as soon as the seminar is over, they're ready to plop it down and do a contract? Has it ever happened in the history of the world? I hear more like, these people weren't ready. I kept them in my drip. Of course, that's what I do. So I'm going to know from people that, they've been emailing these people for the course of a year or two, and then they make that sale. It converted from a lead they already bought. So you're throwing good money after good money, in my opinion, in that case,
Right. And real rebel agents, as we close, real rebel agents don't rely on quick fixes. They don't, they don't look just for the low hanging fruit. They look for the best fit clients that they'll enjoy working with, not just to sell products, but to have a lifelong relationship with them. Because if you're in this business and you don't think it's a people business and you think you can do everything automated and virtually, I think you should find another business, because going forward, you're going to see pushback and people are going to want to know you. And if you don't believe it, go to, I think honestly, the best training videos, Sherilyn, that we've ever made are the ones like this one with Paul, where real clients are telling you, if you're an advisor, you're smart, you want to watch this video and listen to what a real senior tells you they want from you, and do it. And guess what? You're going to make more money than everybody out there who's bragging about their AI. And, you will make more money. And your clients won't leave you for a robo-advisor, because that's coming next.
And don't be a robo-advisor is another statement here, because that's kind of your message. That is actually what people, I guess a robo-advisor would get back to people, but they wouldn't want it and they wouldn't really answer the question. It would be frustrating. So don't be a robo-advisor, be a real advisor. That's what rebel agents are.
Exactly. And see, you'll have clients just like Jackie, though, coming on and talking you up, and you won't even have to ask them. You won't have to beg them to do it. This lady, she would have done an hour just telling me how great, that Sean Sparkman is. I mean, she would have done a whole entire hour, just singing his praises. She had to stop herself a couple times. She goes, "Oh, well, I'm talking too much about Sean." But see, isn't that what you want as an advisor? You don't want to have to. You want people saying, "Hey, can I go on the podcast and talk about my, how we've worked together?" So there are 3 or 4 of these on the Safe Money Trends YouTube channel. If you're an advisor or agent that wants to get better, listen to what these retirees want and do it. And there you go, right? There you go. You know, that's why the good companies always, Sherilyn, they do surveys and they do things like that, because ultimately when they give people what they want, they make more sales.
Yeah.
What a concept. So Sherilyn, tell people how they can reach out to you if they're interested in doing a drip.
You can send me an email, Sherilyn@infofuel.com.
That's,
SH.
we'll put it in the show.
Yeah, we'll just
In the
put it
show,
in the
show
notes.
notes. But we want people to know if you want a customized drip, we can do that too. Everything we do is very boutique-y. Everything is customized. We aren't out to.
And we team up on the article writing and the drip.
Yeah.
If you write a monthly article and publish it,
Yeah.
we'll send that out in the drip too.
Exactly. So this was, again, this video wasn't just to promote us. It was just saying, look, we really do care about our agents and our advisors. The ones that care about their clients, we care about them. So if you need something, even if you don't want to work with us, it's fine. Send us an email, reach out to us, call during business hours, and we'll be glad to help you, point you in the right direction. If we can't do it, we know somebody that can. But whatever you do, ask questions, be cynical, be suspicious, and understand that nobody gives you anything for free. Not really. So I don't know about you, Sherilyn, but I think that, what else, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Well, I want to thank everybody, because this was a longer than usual dispatch. I consider this a training. And if you want more stuff like that, well, we're going to have a whole group. I hate to call it a group because it sounds like we're doing it on Facebook, but we're going to have a whole tribe of people that are rebel agents. And
a community.
It's so funny to have rebel agents being the people that are just doing the right things.
Yeah.
But nowadays, in this world that we live in, doing the right things is an act of rebellion. So
it is.
Anyway, we will see you soon. Thank you so much, Sherilyn. And I look forward to getting the unadulterated copy of this video, and we'll send it out to everybody.
Excellent.
Take care.